Hello and welcome back to the Accessible Word Document series. This is lesson 3 on images. And like all the other lessons, let's review our 4 principles from WCAG. So the first principle is perceivable. The end user has to be able to perceive that an image is present. Operable. The end user has to be able to move through that image and not get stuck. Number 3, understandable. The end user needs to understand what the image is about, what information it is sharing or providing, and all around the purpose of the image. And robust. The image needs to be able to work with a wide range of technologies, including assistive technologies. Let's look a little bit deeper at the perceivable principle. The end user needs to be able to perceive that an image is present. Okay. WCAG, Worldwide or Web Content Accessibility Guidelines from the World Wide Web Consortium, states that for every visual element, there should be an equivalent text element. Descriptions can be added with the alt text attribute or through long descriptions. Images must be in line with text for screen readers to be able to perceive that they are there. So if an image is not done correctly, a screen reader will not be able to perceive that it is there. The end user will not be able to understand what the information is about. Understandable. This is the second of the 4 principles that could give issues with images if they are not done correctly. Some of users may not be able to perceive or understand the content of an image because they may have a visual disability that keeps them from seeing it. Or it could be that they just cannot interpret or decipher the image. The text description should give the relevant information that the picture is about. And just a note, there was a really good presentation done by a gentleman named Adam Almanzo several years ago at the CSUN conference. And the title of the presentation was "A Picture is Worth 300 Words." This presentation gives really good guidelines for creating text descriptions of pictures. I recommend that you Google "A Picture is Worth 300 Words" and read through those guidelines because they are very good. Ally. Ally is an add-on package for both Blackboard and Canvas learning management systems. And Ally analyzes the content of your learning management system for accessibility. And Ally has reported in many systems that the largest problem, the greatest problem with accessibility in the systems are images without text descriptions. And the interesting thing is, this is one of the easiest accessibility problems to fix. So we need to ask ourselves, why this image? Why are we using an image? And there are 2 questions that this prompts in your mind. Number 1, what is the purpose of the image? Is this image going to be there for information, or is this image there to decorate? So is it eye candy or is it informational? And if it is informational, the second question is, what information will this image be providing to the end user? Once you've answered those 2 questions, you're ready to move on to the 4 options or the 4 possibilities you have for dealing with pictures and giving them their text equivalents. The first option, of course, is alt text attribute. The alt text attribute allows you to add text to an image, and that text is with the image or behind the image so that it can be displayed when needed, or it will be read by a screen reader. A long description around the image is another option. So in other words, you could put a long description just before or just after the image. Another option is the description of the image may be incorporated within the text of the document. This happens a lot in textbooks. They will describe what the image is all about, and then they will give a picture. And of course, the last one is maybe it's not even informational, it's decorative, so you can mark it as decorative. Let's take a look now at these options and see what we can do with them. I will be using this photo throughout this, and I wanted to give credit. So the photo credit is to shock.com, and we pulled this from, I think it's pronounced Fotilia, photo, something like that, .com, FOTOLIA.com. There we go. So, so I just wanted to make sure we give credit where credit is due for this image.
Page 2, decorative option.
So if we decide that something is decorative, it's just there for eye candy, it doesn't providing information, and it really isn't important that the end user know what it is, then we can mark that image as decorative.
Land, H:_, 2.
And here's how we do that. Either right click it with the mouse, or if you're working from the keyboard,
H:_, 2,
select the picture,
menu,
application key to bring up the context menu, go to the option that says view alt text.
Leaving menu, size and position, view alt text, A. Leaving menus, blood pressure example, /word, alt text.
Okay.
H:/.
And we see the alt text is there. It's basically just the path to the picture, which doesn't tell anybody anything. And that's why you always want to check your alt text on your images, because the generated alt text is usually not sufficient. So, but this is going to be a decorative picture, so I'm going to tab twice.
Mark as decorative, checkbox not checked, space checked.
I'm going to mark as decorative, and then I'll hit escape.
Escape, blood pressure, land, page 2.
Now, when my screen reader goes over this image,
Decorative image.
it just says decorative image. That tells me it's not important. I don't have to worry about it. Just keep on going. Okay, so that was our fourth option from our list of 4. Now let's go down and look at our another option.
Page 3, alt text option.
Alt text option.
Land. Position your arm correctly.
So here we have a large paragraph that describes how to position the arm and position the blood pressure cuff when taking blood pressure. It gives all the steps necessary, and this information came from Livestrong.com is where we pulled this paragraph from. So it's not important what the paragraph says. The main thing I want you to understand is there's already text here that tells what the image is all about. So it really isn't necessary to go into a long description on this image. So I can go down here and
your palm face where the brachial artery runs, fit to fit inside of the arm, rest of the works. Link, HTTP, land out of H:_22411. In line with text button selected to move to escape. Blood pressure example, H:/H:_22411.
So we have the same picture. And what we want to do is select it.
Land.
Oops, sorry.
H:_2241193
Right click.
Menu cut to move through
Go up to
size and position, view alt text, A.
view alt text.
Leaving menus, alt text, mark as decorative, checkbox not checked. To check, press space bar. Generate alt text, description edit, contains text, type in text.
Now notice we do have that option that says generate alt text for me. That will let Microsoft Word try to come up with a description for this image for you. Sometimes that could be rather entertaining if you want to play with that, but it usually does not provide a quality alt text for your image. So you really need to provide your own. Okay, so for this one, since the details of this picture are already given in the paragraph above, I'm just going to say
ILLUSTRATION space OF space PRO PER space BLOOD space PRESSURE space MEASURES period. Measures. Illustration of proper blood pressure measures.
Illustration of proper blood pressure measures. And that's all.
Marcus, yes, description edit contains, yes, help button to activate. Description edit contains text. Marcus decorative checkbox not checked. To check, press space bar.
So we have our description there. Just going to escape to get out of this window.
Escape, blood pressure example, docs, illustration, land.
Now when I move over this picture,
illustration of proper blood pressure measures, image.
And that's the alt text on that image. So even if you use the option, or the option is there for you where the text of the image, tell them what the image is all about, is already in the text around the image, you still need to add alt text to that image so that the end user knows what it's about. And you could have even added in there, see paragraph above for details, something of that nature. Okay. So that's how you add alt text to an image. And in this case, again, we didn't have to add much to the description because all the description was in their paragraph above. Let's go look at the next option.
Page 4. Long description option.
This is a long description option. So here the paragraph isn't nearly as descriptive as above, and it reads,
Proper placement of the cuff is important to accurate blood pressure readings. See the image below for an illustration of the proper placement.
okay, so it doesn't give a description of how to position the arm or the cuff or the stethoscope or anything. So that the end user is supposed to get from the picture.
An illustration of the land. H:__ 22411.
So that description that was above is really basically what we need here. Maybe edit it a little bit to make it a little shorter. But it's going to be too long to go into our alt text, because alt text typically has a character limit of 255 characters. Okay, so what we need to do in this case is put a long description either just above or just below the picture. Generally, I put it below the picture. Once in a while, I'll decide it probably would go better above, but I typically put it below the picture.
Land.
So right here,
H:__ land.
what I would do is I would put an open bracket and put
IMAGE space DESCTTRIPTION colon space
and then I would type a description.
TAIS space double A T space PICTURE space SPABOUT period.
And this will give you much more leeway on how descriptive you can be, because you're not limited to 255 characters. And when I'm done with the description,
Right bracket.
I just put a right bracket and
Enter.
go down. Now, the important thing to remember is you still
Left
need
bracket
to
H:__
add your alt text to your image.
Oh.
And you might want to do it in something like this.
H:__ 22411 applications menu leaving menus type the search and menu format picture dot size and position view alt text dot leaving menus alt text mark as decorative checkbox not checked check generate alt text description edit contains text type in text.
And I will say, you notice there is the image option there to do generate, but again, not the best way to do that. It's better to write your own. So in this case, I want to put
LLUSTRATION space OF space PROPER space POSITON space FOR space BLOOD space PRESSURE space TESE period space SEE space DESCRIPTION space BELOW.
and notice I added C description below. That refers the student or the end user to look at the picture that the description that follows the picture.
Escape blood pressure land page
So
4.
now when I move over that, it's going to say,
Illustration of proper position for blood pressure test. See description below image.
okay,
Left bracket image description colon this is what the picture is about. Right bracket.
and then I have my description. So this makes the image perceivable, and it makes it understandable, and it makes it robust. I know the image is there, and the alt text of the image refers me to the long description that follows it. And that's pretty much the basics of creating images with alt text and text descriptions. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me. My contact information is on the screen now. It's Robert Beach, Assistive Technology Specialist. My email address is rbeach@kckcc.edu, and my phone number is 913-288-7671. Repeating that, email address rbeach@kckcc.edu, and my phone number is 913-288-7671. Hope to see you in lesson 4, dealing with styles.